Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our special board meeting. We had a couple of actionable items that we needed to meet about prior to our monthly meeting, and so here we are. So we're gonna go ahead and start with some new business.
Okay.
You want me to read, who's reading the motions since Brian's not here?
Do you mind?
I can do that.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
We'll start with item A, please. Item 1A.
Motion to approve the change order from McHenry Excavating. Item A, erosion control. Item B, additional paving.
In context of the motion, we can review and discuss both. If needed, we could separate, but we have a motion to review the request. In total of $27,163. What we did the other day, Hayden and I brought McHenry along with Daniel George with B&F Engineering. We had this additional material that we kind of moved on across from the point of the road and expanded to what we call now the secondary parking area adjacent to the football field. If you recall, we got all that additional parking. That scope of work really didn't have any, it was an as-built with monitoring drainage control. So kind of what this does is we've had a few rains, we've had an opportunity to kind of see how we're channeling water, and this will give us some riprap, it'll give us some overlay. We're going to take some overlay from up on top of the mountain and use our own city pit to compact that back there versus hauling it in, which would be cheaper. But we want our secondary parking lot to not just be clay, but to have a pretty good surface on it because we anticipate we'll be parking cars on it this fall.
The one up on top.
Not,
No.
kind of think with me back towards, going up towards the Arbordale Spring.
Not
When you
behind
say-
the press box.
Not behind
Not
the
that
press
far.
box,
Okay.
just down below the press
Below the
box to
press
the
box.
right.
Okay.
So if you're up there with me and we're looking down, it's
Yes.
the one to the right, not the
Gotcha.
one to the left that was a part of the plan. The one to the right was created with the additional fill.
That's right, okay.
So the additional fill area, we've had to make modifications to this. It has cost us some money outside the scope of the original work, but we have picked up an area where we can park, as you've seen, another well over 100 cars. But we need to go ahead while we have them on site and have that where we manage the erosion control, get it where we can park on it and use it moving forward. And so that's what this set of conditions is here in the first $27,000. If there's anything to conclude with, the 3,000, the 2,000, and 2,000, when we approved our original bid, we had to bring that to you. It was very time sensitive and it was an estimate versus a hard number.
Right.
All that work has been completed. We've calculated material and labor, and through B&F's approval, the $3,400, the $2,200, and the $2,000 is the final number. So where we think we're at with tonight's discussion puts us at a mid-May completion date with this project that we don't see any other unforeseen conditions. The other thing, if you'll think with me, I take you in the room and we look at the original diagram, we didn't think we would have enough fill to build out the existing parking lot. And so we had a road. Remember, the original plan allowed for the road to go right on up by the ag building up there to where the old bus turnaround area is. The additional fill created, that all got filled in. So in his bid spec, there was not additional material to cover that area because, we have to cover it, compact it. And so in the, whenever we had all this additional material, it created a scope of work outside the boundary of the original bid. It's been a good partnership. I was talking to Hayden today. We chose to be the general manager on this project versus hiring a construction manager. And we're kind of right now putting together a request for qualifications to pick a construction manager so that the protection of the construction manager in that process, you might pay a little bit more on the front end, but you don't have to contend with as many change orders because it has a cap. Typically, when you do when I say you pay more on the front end, you're going to pay for that protection to not have to add to the number. This change order here really reflects the expansion of parking in the fact that the amount of material projected exceeded the project scope. And we had two options: put it in a pile and look at it, or make it usable. And so these change orders have allowed us to make a secondary parking lot usable. So that's what I would explain with the $27,000. And the secondary, first, any questions on this piece for clarity? Does everybody kind of know what we're paying for? It's a targeted focus on the extension of the parking lot that kind of takes us on over there into the valley, if you will. Gives us quite a bit more parking, and it even helps us with the secondary area. I would add, I went ahead and asked him, in this number, the containers will be removed, so our storage containers will flip. They'll go over by the old handicap parking on the green space. They'll be relocated over there, what, the next week or two?
Next week.
When that's completed, then we will come back in where the containers are at now, and that's on grade with the track. We'll compact that and prepare it for pavement, and we'll use it with chat. And if we feel as though we need some additional hard surface pavement, it will be prepped for pavement if needed. So that'll give us for our handicap parking, it'll give us more handicap parking and give us the latitude for people to safely walk in on grade into the facility. So it's an expansion. We're getting an expansion of handicap parking. The only thing you're not getting is any asphalt up there in that area. So we're prepping it to where if we find it to be a significant need, we could address it as needed. So that's the first component of the change order. In a discussion with Mr. Campbell and others, we began to discuss, I've told you the last two meetings that I've reminded the community that the scope of work that we designed married up to the road widening. If you drove in today, you saw some evidence. They took some trees out, piled them up. So we're beginning to see that utilities are taking shape. The road is beginning to move towards a construction phase, but the anticipated time frame before that curb and concrete would be in place could be as much as 18 months. Our concern with having this apron of brand new asphalt and the old highway setting here, and you have this little window of chat in between, is kids and people turning in, because now this south entrance, we're funneling all this traffic in there starting at the beginning of next school year. We're going to pick all that up and we're going to carry it right out on top of our new pavement. And we thought, just so it would give everyone a point of egress, what the second change order does is give you a paved apron right out onto the old road, which the highway department will at some point remove and pour concrete and curbs. But upon the completion, when the pavers are in here with authorization, we'll pour it down to the highway if you approve this.
Do we have to ask the state if we can do that?
No.
Because it's their property, right? It's in.
Yeah, we're within their easement. They're authorized to remove it. We know they're going to remove it and set the roadway back. We're just protecting safety for the next 18 months and giving people a safe way to get in and out without driving from highway to chat to pavement. So it
And
takes.
you got those two big ditches on each side.
Yes.
That'll be curved, I'm sure, right?
When it sets back, the whole thing will have a curve.
Yeah.
With the entry point, 16s? 48, 48 foot
For the
wide.
width, yes, 48. Yeah.
So that'll be the full width of the 3 lanes, and that's why it is 12,000, is because it is, it's roughly the width of 3 lanes.
Now, Corey, are you asking if we are going to put up any kind of?
No, I'm saying that there's curbs on the outside, right? Or not?
On
For
RDOT's
right now?
plans, yes.
Huh?
On RDOT's plans, yes.
RDOT's plans will have curves, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, on the
When we
outside
do
edge, there'll be
this,
curves. There won't be any, well, all this does is just
Hey,
pave it in, we'll use it, and then RDOT will set it back within the next 18 months, depending on where they're at in the scalability of construction. They got to widen the road. If you've noticed, sometimes they're taking on the curbing first, and in other instances, it's coming later, and so it's all staged at different times, and so we could very well be waiting 2 years because the project's scaled to be completed in August of '23 or later. So my recommendation would be to go ahead and get it paved down to the highway as it is. We begin to use it as a finished product. When the construction occurs, they set it back, and then all we do is wait for them to put concrete in and the curbs that Corey is indicating at that time. And so it's a $12,000 investment to have a finished roadway out to the highway.
And is this the least expensive way to pave it? I mean, I see that you're saying 3 inches with base rock, blah, blah, blah. Is that just the minimum?
Sure, I mean, you have McHenry on site, so you could either, he's pulling from his crew now, so, yeah, I mean, if I went out and did that myself, I'd probably be within $300 of it. So he's already on site, he can bring the material.
Can
You
you make it?
don't, you don't want to change your specification on an apron that's from here to the
Right.
other side of that wall over there, because the rest of it is going to have that same application. So your upcharge for you to do something different to try to save money in materials, you will exceed that in labor. So you just put the same application from the road, and this will carry all the way through to the ag building parking lot.
And this will be a continuous piece of asphalt.
Mhm.
Right, so that whenever they cut, we're not gonna go in and patch a piece. 'cause the state will patch
When they
it.
cut it, they'll replace it back with concrete.
Right,
It'll
right.
marry up to our
Right,
asphalt.
so
when
we're
they
gonna
come
have,
together.
from where they cut it, we'll have a continuous
Yes.
piece. Versus if we don't do it now, then we're gonna have a piece within a piece.
You're gonna drive off of there on the gravel.
Right.
And then you're gonna drive on the pavement
And
every
then-
day when you come off the
Then,
highway.
but then when we go back and re-asphalt, then we're gonna have concrete, a patch, and then the other asphalt. This is prevent that patch.
And RDOT has projected, it's a large apron, so I mean, we're thinking of doing this asphalt now, before that, our asphalt prior to this was stopping probably about 30 feet from the road.
Right.
So it's not just, from here to here, it's going up about 30, 35 feet as well.
Right.
So that's where your $12,000 is coming from.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
So that's the two, that's rationale for coming together. I do feel pretty confident when you echo that we are in a position to state, based on weather, based on everything we walked every bit of the site. We looked at agreements on drainage slope from the ag building all the way to daylight at the creek. The pipes are in, everything is shaping up with the expanded student parking area. We do believe that this would be the last conversation around this project related to expenses.
I believe so.
So we feel pretty good about it. I don't know if you had a chance to walk it lately, but it's really starting to shape up.
I drive it, I don't know.
You're ready to drive it. It's still a little muddy.
I've been driving.
We'll not be messing it up.
Yeah.
The people on site to fix it.
We don't, it can't keep you off, can we, Corey? It's not gated.
The other side's gated.
I know it.
Just drive all the way through.
This guy, his gates. Okay, anybody got any other questions? Motion to approve the change order from McHenry Excavating, A, erosion control McHenry Excavating, B, additional paving McHenry Excavating. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries 4-0.
Next motion, motion to accept the letter of resignation from Chris Mungle as head girls basketball coach effective the end of the 2021 school year.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Had a chance to review that. So, motion to accept the letter of resignation from Chris Mungle as head girls basketball coach effective the end of the 2020-2021 school year. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries 4-0.
Motion to hire the following for the correlating positions for the upcoming 21-22 school year. Hunter Lively, high school film broadcast teacher. Tiffany Harden, elementary teacher. Mary Bradley, special education paraprofessional. Bob Curlin, special education paraprofessional. And Karen Niblett, special education paraprofessional.
Again, we've had a chance to kind of review resumes. Anybody have any questions on those? I'm going to step aside, okay? So, motion to hire the following for the correlating positions for the upcoming 2021-2022 school year. Hunter Lively, high school film broadcast teacher. Tiffany Harden, elementary teacher. Mary Bradley, special education paraprofessional, Bob Curlin, special education paraprofessional, Karen Niblett, special education paraprofessional. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries 4-0. And we are adjourned.